everybody, Dr. Chris here. Thanks for joining me as usual. You can see I'm kind of in a construction zone right here. It's a cheap metaphor, but I like it. Go with it, okay? This place is under construction. We're doing some work, but there's plans in place. It's gonna look nice when it's done, all right? As you, right? Maybe you don't like exactly where you are right now, or maybe you have some bigger plans in the future, but you're working on things, okay? Stick with your plan, things are gonna work out, all right? And that kind of fits along with what I'm talking about today. This is the SAID principle, okay? SAID, specific adaptation to impose demands, okay? If you followed me at all, you probably heard me talk about this. I love it, okay? I love it both in the strength and conditioning world, but also in just general life, okay? So let me give you an example in the exercise world, just because it's an easy example to kind of visualize. So let's say you never exercise in your life, okay? Your arms, you don't require a whole lot of them day to day. Okay, maybe driving your car, drinking a glass of water. You say, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym and start doing some arm curls. Okay, you pick up a 5-pound weight, you start doing arm curls. That's kind of hard, right? Kind of hard, you do a couple of repetitions, you're tired, okay? A couple of days later, you go back, you do it again, okay? A few more repetitions, all right? But still hard, still tired. You know, you do that a couple of times, and your body says, hey, I don't like this being this heavy, I'm gonna adapt. Your arm, your biceps gonna get a little bigger, a little stronger, there'll be some neurologic adaptations, and before you know it, that 5 pounds, it's pretty easy. Your body adapted to the demand that you placed on it, okay? So another word that I like to use instead of demand is stress, okay? I mean, that's a stress on the body, right? Your arm is comfortable just laying here, not doing anything. You stress it by doing arm curls. Any kind of exercise puts a stress on the body. And stress is really a challenge to your homeostasis, all right? Homeostasis is when everything's in equilibrium. You're happy, you're not overstressed, you're comfortable, you're not being challenged at all. So a stress is anything that tries to change that, all right? And one of the main points I want you to come away with from this talk is that stress can be good. Okay, everyone hears the word stress and, oh, it's bad, that's bad. Well, the stress you put on your bicep there doing the arm curls, that was good, right? I mean, your arm got bigger and stronger, which most people are okay with. All right, but here's where stress becomes a problem. Okay, I'll go back to that arm curl example. Let's say you're doing 5 pounds, it's not too hard. You find you adapted to it, you're doing well. You say, hey, I'm gonna do this for like 5 hours. Okay, you're doing your arm curls, you're flying, you're cruising, all of a sudden it starts to get a little heavy, you keep going, and it's gonna start to hurt eventually, all right? And let's say you do it for as long as you possibly can, the next day you do it again, the next day you do it again, the next day you do it again, you're not giving that arm any time to rest and recover from that stress. It's a constant stress. You're gonna start doing damage, okay? The arm's gonna get injured, the tendons are gonna get inflamed, and it's going to be counterproductive. That is when stress becomes a problem, okay? Let me use a medical example. It's very similar to the biceps example, but a little harder to visualize because it's internal. I'm talking about high blood pressure, right? So your heart's a muscle, just like your bicep is a muscle. So your heart's beating, doing fine, getting blood everywhere it needs to go. Let's say you have high blood pressure. So now your heart has to squeeze a little bit harder to push the blood out, just like that bicep had to pull a little bit harder, contract a little bit harder against the weight, okay? Now your heart's pumping, squeezing harder. You don't treat that high blood pressure. Eventually, your heart's gonna adapt. It's gonna get bigger and stronger, just like your bicep. Seems good, right? Well, not if it never gets a break, right? And so it's gonna keep getting bigger and stronger, and eventually that leads to problems, okay? Congestive heart failure, heart attacks, those sorts of things. That's why it's important to get your blood pressure treated, to give it a break. Just like with the arm curls, it's important to take a break and recover, okay? So those are 2 muscle examples. This happens in all sorts of other situations in life too, right? I mean, let's say you get 5 hours of sleep. You could probably plow through the next day and, you know, muddle through it. But let's say you get 5 hours of sleep, and then 5 hours of sleep, and then 5 hours of sleep, and then 5 hours of sleep. That's gonna catch up to you, right? Your stress hormones are gonna go up, cortisol is gonna go up, that's no good. Your hunger hormones are all off, which we've talked about before. You're not gonna recover well, your mood's gonna get worse. That chronic stress is no good. It affects your immune system, you're more likely to get infections and not fight them off as well. So chronic stress is the problem, okay? Acute stress is good, right? Think about someone who has no acute stress. By acute stress, I mean short term, right? You get stressed, you adapt, you improve, and the stress goes away, all right? People who have none of that, think about this. I mean, here's an example. Someone who wakes up in the morning, eats a donut, sits in the car on their way to work, sits at their desk all day staring at a computer, drives home in their car, and then sits on the couch and watches TV. There is no demands placed on that body. The demands, the minuscule demands that are placed on it, that's what the body's going to adapt to, right? So I mentioned stress can make your body improve by adapting. It can also make it worse by adapting the other way. This goes both ways, right? And so that person who's not moving around hardly at all, their body's going to get soft, it's going to get weak, it's going to adapt to the minimum requirements that are imposed on it, right? Now, let's say that person wants to go and just play a round of golf. Oh, their back's going to hurt, they're going to be tired, they're going to have to take a cart, and they'll say, things fall apart once I hit 40. Well, it's kind of been sneaking up on you the whole time here. You just notice it now when you finally impose some demands that your body just is not ready for, okay? So, main points here. Acute stress, if it's manageable, is great. You adapt to it, but then you have to rest and recover from it, okay? If you have long-term chronic stress, that's when your body starts wearing out, okay? So great, you have any questions, let me know. Said principle for life, for exercise, for wellness. Have a great day. Thanks for talking to you. Keep yourself under construction and improve. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Be sure to schedule your free 30-minute initial phone consultation by sending me an email or by visiting our website at refinedwellnessconsulting.com.